on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
And just like that, it's Monday. Here we are, O'Connor and Company. 7 minutes after 5 in the morning on News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news. Yes, it is O'Connor and Company. Larry is still on holiday. My name is Mike Opelka. I am thrilled to be here. My old friend Larry O'Connor actually gave me the thumbs up to do this, which I would have put money on the other direction, but he knows his gig is in safe hands because Julie Gundlach is here.
Good morning.
And Julie, I'm sorry you have to do this kind of combat duty today. But,
I'm thrilled. I'm a big fan of yours, so I'm thrilled to be on with you today.
Well, I appreciate it. I've been on virtually every shift on this channel. I've been in for Chris a lot. I've been in for Vince, and now I get to sit in for Larry.
There you go.
And thank God Heather didn't take off either, because I feel propped up. I almost feel Biden-like. I don't know about you, but I feel like there are all kinds of people holding me and pointing me which direction to go and saying, no, don't go over there. You can't do that. All the plants will die. But I'm here, and I'm glad you're here. And what a weekend we had.
Oh, boy.
My goodness. As a resident of the state of Delaware and a shack owner in Lower Delaware, we have a shack on the Delaware Bay.
Nice.
I'm familiar with Joe Jams, as they're called. we have traffic issues when the president is in town, and they call him Joe Jams. And he spent some time at the beach today, did he not? This weekend, did he not?
Yeah.
Now, if you were, I'm not going to go sexist on this, but I'm going to go sexist on this. Joe Biden shirtless on the beach. Robert Kennedy Jr. shirtless on the beach.
I'll give you one. Remember Nancy Pelosi?
I don't want to think about Nancy Pelosi shirtless on the beach.
That was some serious cleavage going on there.
Well, Nancy is a woman of a certain age, and gravity affects all of us, not in a positive manner.
Are you telling me to be nice?
No, not at all. Please, the gloves are off. If we're talking about suit sizes, Joe Biden, I think, is a 44 long. I think Kennedy is a 42 long, and I think Nancy is a 48 long. From what I saw.
Yeah, that fits.
I'm just putting that out there. If that's wrong, I'll be on the discipline couch later, so you can find me there. Yeah, I just don't know who advised Joe to be on the beach and be shirtless. And the controversy, as the Australians like to say, the controversy when he put on his shoes. I was stunned. I was astounded. I was appalled. I was confused almost as much as he was. The Skechers controversy. Are we kidding?
Sketchergate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we put a gate on everything.
Right.
Joe Biden wearing grandpa shoes.
Wait. You know what? I like Skechers.
I'm a Skechers fan too because I have fat feet. I need wide shoes. I have a triple E foot. I don't need flippers when I swim, but when I walk around, I need wide shoes. So
Okay, I don't have fat feet. I just think they're very comfortable. And also, there's no shoelaces. They just slip on. They're very convenient.
Yeah, they're like fake shoelaces. They have stuck shoelaces on there.
The stretchy ones.
But the whole problem with Joe Biden not wearing socks is just maybe he's having a Miami Vice moment where he went back to the 80s. And he had a Miami Vice moment. Oh, he got a Marine One, and he had Skechers on, but he wasn't wearing any socks.
Do you think if the cocaine had been found in a pair of Skechers, the media would have been more interested in the cocaine story?
Oh, Skechers would have been. Think of the free press Skechers is getting today.
Totally.
And I think as much as we have endorsed Skechers or mentioned that we are Skechers customers, I think it's also important, and I would hope every president would be mindful of this, to realize they're made in China, probably by people making less than minimum wage here in America.
Yeah.
Just saying. So if you are the president of the United States, and you're trying to say that you are the working man's president, which he's saying, it's the middle up. We're gonna make the middle class better and stronger, which he hasn't. Don't be wearing shoes that came from China. Get you some New Balance that were made somewhere in America. They make fat feet shoes too. I have some of those. But this just astounds me that he's on the beach, he's shirtless, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm a married guy, so I'm used to it. Doesn't Joe Biden have a private beach at his mansion?
Right.
So why in the name of all that is good and holy was he on the public beach taking up space? Because they have to secure the area. There's a perimeter, and Joey's in his shorts and no shirt, and he's got his little Skechers on. But the Secret Service agents look like the ones I saw. There were different groups there. Some of them had shorts, and most of them had long pants on, I believe.
I was just surprised Hunter was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, because he's been on a real short leash lately, hasn't he?
Yeah.
When they went to Camp David the last 2 weekends, Hunter was right there, and I had flashbacks to my childhood when my mom, with her 9 kids, the youngest always in a tether, so they couldn't run away. And Hunter's been like that 9th youngest kid who was on a tether, so Dad couldn't. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe if the powdery substance may have belonged to a member of the Biden family, and we'll get into that later with Joe DeGeneva. We have to talk about all the ramifications of the meltdown at the press conference on Friday. But if it was a member of the Biden family and Hunter was off his leash, that could put I believe that puts his plea deal at risk, which could be serious stuff. So we'll get into that. Okay. We also have to talk about the president who's currently across the pond. I didn't know he was a tennis fan. Is he going for the second week of Wimbledon? Must be. There are only 2 Americans left in the big tournament right now in the pro level. The juniors just started. But Joe Biden going to stop in and have tea with Charles III.
I can't get used to that.
I'm old enough to remember when Charles was crowned king. He had a coronation, did he not? Is he having a second one?
He had one in Scotland. I don't know if there's any more on the horizon. I don't recall if there's any between Scotland and the one in London, but maybe.
Well, Scotland's like saying, "Oh yeah, I had that in Virginia." It counts. It counts when he's back in London. It counts when he's at Buckingham Palace. So these are Europe is all like suburbs, or like adjoining states if you're in the tri-state region.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Delmarva Peninsula, you will.
When people say, "Oh, in Europe they travel to different cultures." I'm like, it's like going to Indiana. Calm down.
Yeah. The only thing different is there's a couple of local fast food joints there. Nothing else is different. Right. As a matter of fact, all the malls are exactly the same. So
exactly.
It's not a big deal. So we'll dive into that. We'll update the latest on the Biden and the cocaine in the White House story. Well, what the heck is going on with Prince Charles? The president's also going to hang in Lithuania, in Vilnius, I think. They have the big NATO meeting, seeing who gets voted in and voted out. It's like a Survivor episode.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll continue with our
estimate today.
News Talk 105.9
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Camera. It's Mike Opelka in for Larry O'Connor on O'Connor and Company. And as I said earlier, and we'll repeat throughout the program, thank God Julie Gunlock is here. We were just getting warmed up here talking about the Biden weekend, the beach, and then the bouncing over the pond to England. And there's going to be obviously much discussion today in the media about the ongoing wandering cocaine in the White House. It's kind of kooky the way I guess it isn't kooky the way the mainstream media is avoiding this, Julia.
Oh yeah.
With the several locations, is there somewhere there's a giant whiteboard with each location drawn out with a sort of an overhead view of the White House, a template like an architect's drawing, and then we have X's where each alleged discovery of the cocaine was found?
I like to think of it as Clue. It was Hunter Biden in the library with a baggie of cocaine.
I think you had to add 4 letters to that. I think it's Clueless at the White House, because it really does seem to be a bunch of people pointing fingers at each other and saying, nope, not mine. That's got to be his.
Yeah.
We watch a lot of cop shows, and when they pull people over and they find drugs in the car, there's always that moment where the officer says, now, you're in control of the car. If nobody claims these drugs, the charge is going on you.
You know, I'm obviously always appalled at the corporate media, but they haven't really let this go. It has been very uncomfortable in the White House press office. Cringe is very uncomfortable. You can tell that. Obviously, if this were Trump, they'd be hammering. It'd be like they'd already start the impeachment process. But I have been surprised that the media isn't totally ignoring this.
Yeah, I found it interesting that that cut from Andrea Mitchell when she was talking with Kelly O'Donnell last week, that Andrea Mitchell actually floated something that I believe was maybe meant to be a little distraction. Let's check cut 1.
Kelly, the big change is where this was found. And it was found, by my observation, in a much more secure place, limited access place than that West Wing reception area. It's still a frequently trafficked place, but it's down near the Situation Room, right off West Executive, down below. And normal people, average people just can't get in there, even with the entry from the Northwest Gate.
Well, let me bring you up to date with the reporting that I have. What we have learned is that there are, in fact, 2 West Wing entrances. You know that, I know that, but for the benefit of our audience. And now the investigation has progressed, and so they're saying the West Executive entrance, which, as you noted, is closer to the Situation Room and closer to the Navy mess, where there's the facilities for food and so forth. It is also next to West Executive Drive. That's where, for example, the vice president's vehicle is parked.
This little soft floating of an idea that, well, it was in the door that Kamala uses, right next door to that door. That's where those little cubbies are, and that's where we found that cocaine. I'm not saying it was hers, but you can't rule that out, can you? Is this a white squirrel, as we call it? Is this a distraction? Because if you've ever seen a white squirrel, it takes your attention away from everything.
Well, look, I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Biden White House decides Kamala is the fall guy here. Whether it's true or not, they need a fall guy. So I wouldn't be surprised. She's an inconvenience. She is an embarrassment. She has been all along. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use this as some vehicle to get rid of her while also still continuing to protect themselves. But what I find so interesting is that, why does this door matter? Hunter Biden can get in anywhere. He doesn't have the enhanced searches because he's a member of the family. And so I just don't think it's an obvious, it's this entrance. Then it lets Hunter off the hook. Again, he can go in any door. He can go down in that area. He's not cordoned off. So again, I don't think this is the big, I don't think this will lead people away from Hunter as they think it will.
Well, we have to get into this because there are more options here, and there are betting options as well. Legally, people are gambling on this overseas. But we have much more to get to. As I said, right now, it is 22 minutes on Washington's Mall, WMAL. It is 28 minutes after 5 o'clock. O'Connor and Company, Larry still out, Mike Opelka in. Thank God Julie Gunlock is here. We were talking about the cocaine in the White House, the wandering cocaine, and the tension that happened with Cringe Jean-Pierre. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to get to this, but we should tease it and come back to it because it's just too good. And it is just one of those things that I believe is going to be hanging around for a while. Because the press secretary seems so upset that the media is doing its job. Is this the pivot point for you, Julie? Do you think like this may be the moment where the media has a wake up call?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There have been so many moments, and the media is just so, they're so disappointing every time something like this happens. But I do think the White House is unprepared for this. I think between this situation and the refusal to acknowledge their granddaughter, there is just this sense of these people are despicable. They're just disgusting. And I think the media has had it up to their eyeballs with this. And because when you ignore your granddaughter and when you have cocaine laying around the White House, it isn't that much of a stretch to say, maybe took money from the Chinese. So yes, I do think that all of this is piling up. And
Julie, please. Assuming they took money from the Chinese, then you insult the Romanians and the Russians.
You're right.
And the Ukrainians.
I'm sorry.
It's 29 minutes after the hour. More on the cocaine in the White House and a nightmare cruise story. It is O'Connor and Company on News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9.
News now.
Hey, good morning. It's Monday. It's 5:37. You're listening to O'Connor and Company. My name is Mike Opelka. I'm in for Larry O'Connor alongside of the one and only Julie Gunlock here on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news, trying to make sense of the ongoing drama that's unfolding at the White House as it relates to the Coke talk. And we'll also remind you that coming up at 7 o'clock, 7:05, we're going to talk to Joe DeGeneva about this subject as well. And I happen to have experience in some of the drama. I'm just saying, my wife was a soap opera writer for 25 years. And so she can look at a story and figure out who the culprit is. It's uncanny. She can say, oh, no. That's not about that. This guy's hiding this, or this one's running around with this one. And I'm like, how do you know this? She said, all those stories on the soaps are torn from real life.
Right.
They mirror what's going on in our humanity. And I said, okay, whose Coke is it? And she didn't blink. She goes, Hunter's. Just like that. I said, well, what could it be? Nope. I said, well, what about that? Nope. So I trust my wife implicitly. And I'm also stunned, as we were talking earlier, about the indignant response that came out of the White House press conference on Friday, which has become kind of a little tiny flicker of hope that journalism will return to the White House press conference, that maybe the reporters in the mainstream media who have abdicated their roles as the fourth estate, peeling back the layers until they get to the truth. You know, they've been surrendering for the past couple of years to the Democrat and the administration, the Democrats in charge. And then on Friday, we did see, it was a New York Post reporter who pressed the issue. But it was a magical moment that I think this might be one of the biggest pivot points overall. In case you missed it, New York Post reporter asking Cringe about the cocaine.
He said that he was avoiding it because of the Hatch Act. I'm just asking again, can we just say once and for all whether or not the cocaine belonged to the Biden family?
So, a couple of things there. He mentioned the Hatch Act because the question was posed to him using Donald Trump, and so he was trying to be very mindful. Okay, I hear you, but you're asking me a question, so I'm answering it for you. And so that's why he said the Hatch Act. So I would, have you read the transcript and read the transcript fully so you can see exactly what he was trying to say. So that's number one. So we're not avoiding the question. That is not true. We've answered this question, litigated this question for the last 2 days exhaustively. There has been some irresponsible reporting about the family. And so I got to call that out here. And I have been very clear. I was clear 2 days ago when talking about this over and over again as I was being asked a question. As you know, and media outlets reported this, the Biden family was not here. They were not here.
They were at Camp David. They were not here Friday. They were not here Saturday. They were not here Sunday. They were not even here Monday. They came back on Tuesday. So to ask that question is actually incredibly irresponsible.
So that little tense moment, that little dressing down, I thought should have gotten a stronger pushback, especially because the media had been doing fact checking, mostly Fox, I think, and Newsmax. The Biden family was, in fact, there on Friday.
Yeah, they were. They were. You know, the other thing, just really quickly going back to the Hatch Act, Andrew Bates, he was the one who told reporters that he couldn't comment because we have to be careful about the Hatch Act. She asked specifically about the Biden family at that point. So there was no violation in him responding to that. It was a bizarre moment. But then if you listen, because Cringe there says, if you listen to if you look at the transcript or listen to the transcript. Yeah, if you listen to the transcript, 2 sentences later, he bashes Biden or he bashes Trump. So that, I mean, that's the violation of the Hatch Act, not responding to questions about who left the cocaine in the White House. So again, it just is sickening how this White House operates. And again, Cringe is trying to intimidate the press by saying it's irresponsible to ask those questions.
Well, where's the media spine standing up and go, what about that question is irresponsible?
Right.
And that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
It's not happening. Now, again, and we'll play whataboutism here. If this had been a Trump family member, Trump cocaine in the White House, Jim Acosta would be saying, what's irresponsible about it? What's irresponsible?
Right.
His eyes would be bugging out of his head and all that stuff. It's just infuriating to me. To ask a question is irresponsible. And for her to say, we've litigated this for the past 2 days. No, you haven't, because the story keeps changing.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish Judge Judy was a White House reporter. She would grill them like a cheese sandwich.
Well, right after that, many White House ethics report, former counsels to the White House, for instance, Richard Painter, he actually told the Washington Free Beacon that that the Hatch Act in that application was completely irrelevant. So there are plenty of ethics experts weighing in on this. And does the press throw that in Cringe's face? Do they say, according to many advisors to the White House in previous years, this was not a Hatch Act violation? No, they just go on. They just move on. But this is why I'm constantly frustrated by the corporate media.
Yeah, I need to have one of those foam bricks that you throw at your TV while you're watching the press conference. Even though TVs have come down in price, I still don't want to Elvis my TV with any kind of irresponsible reaction to the irresponsible behavior. It is 43 minutes after 5 o'clock. We have so much more to get onto this, and we will share it with you on O'Connor and Company on 105.9 WMAL. It is 5:48 on a Monday morning, and this is, of course, O'Connor and Company. Mike Opelka in for Larry O'Connor, Julie Gunlock here. And we were talking about this before the show because there are a couple of stories about cruise ships that are floating out there. First, I was awakened this morning by a tweet from Carol Roth that showed this icon of the seas, this giant monstrosity of a cruise ship. Now, there are a lot of friends of mine who love to go on cruise ships. Absolutely can't wait for the next one. And I don't get it. It's just one of those things that I'm like, no, I'd rather take out my appendix with a warm spoon than be on a cruise. But this thing, have you cruised, Julie?
I never have. And, I think some people like them because they're all inclusive. Maybe I considered doing it with my parents once and kind of priced it out. And, it was pretty pricey, at least for ones that I wanted to go. But this icon of the sea, my gosh, this is a whole other level. As Carol Roth said, this is what my nightmares look like. And I have to agree, seems a little like a party prison. But again, I know a lot of people who love cruises, so I'm not really one to judge, I guess.
But to give you perspective on this, it is 5 times larger and heavier than the Titanic. And we know where that ended up. It is 19 floors. 19 floors. There are more than 40 bars.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
Bowling alleys which I don't get. There must be some kind of technology that prevents the ball from bouncing around while you're cruising. I don't get it.
There's a water park. So think of a water park that you go to, right? Which are filthy and disgusting. But let's just pretend that you're happy at a water park and then put it on a cruise ship. It's just astonishingly huge.
5,610 people, all in matching outfits, 2,350 crew members. All I'm thinking about is what's trailing that ship. You know, if you're following that ship out on the ocean, I know the ocean is a gigantic body of water, but that's 5,610 people and 2,350 crew members who all have to wash themselves every day, we hope. And there's 40 bars, so we know they're drinking. We know what happens after drinking.
You made a very good point about this. The toilet flushing.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an apartment building in Manhattan on the water.
Now,
I shudder at the thought of it. And just, breaking news yesterday, the cover of the Financial Times. That's the pink newspaper. I don't know if you ever pick it up. It's a great newspaper. The Financial Times Sunday edition has a cover story on the Icon of the Seas, which has been delayed from its January 2024 launch because some of the panels inside can't pass the fire test.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. It really, that is very dangerous. Yes.
Yeah, this is not for me. I will look, we like to watch some of those calming PBS dramas late at night. And they have those advertisements for those small ships, those flat ships that go up and down the Rhine or
the Viking.
Yeah, the Viking cruise line.
My parents went on one of those.
See, I'm thinking that's about my style. Or the river boats that go up and down the Mississippi and the Missouri.
Yeah. I like the Viking. Seems very civilized. I don't think there's a lot of barfing over the side of the boat.
No, maybe.
There's a lot of barfing, I bet, going on an Icon of the Seas.
Is there really?
Well, I bet.
40 bars, no waiting. Just hang over the edge and let it go, and hope that
and hope you don't fall in.
Yeah, because there might be sharks.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I think of all of the food that is tossed overboard, that is attracting gulls and aquatic life to follow in the wake of this. I properly called a monstrosity in the tweet from a guy named Ray Monk. It's fantastic. And then Julie sends me, "Hey, would you go on a cruise ship that has a hole in it?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Depends on the pricing, right? Is there a discount?
No,
I'm all for a good deal.
No, I'm not getting on a ship that's just been damaged.
But there is one,
the
San Francisco Pier, right?
Yeah, they hit the pier, punctured the hull. And they said, we got to fix. The integrity's good. You have until 11 p.m. tonight to decide if you're going to get off.
Oh, wow.
We're going to Alaska.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Cold water, Alaska.
I'd get off.
No, thank you. I'll take the voucher, please, for the next time. And we didn't even get into the tragedy in New Jersey, the two firefighters who lost their lives battling the cargo ship blaze at the port with 5,000 cars on it.
Wow.
I'm going to stay on land for a while. I'll be good with flying and driving at this point, and maybe, just maybe, the occasional train. And there's